Morning. I guess this still needs a little bit, one more round of an amplification. Are you ready? Come on, good morning.
Good morning.
Great. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's not only a great day in the context of your festival, but I'm also happy to hear that a lot of you from these institutes have completed your placements and so on, so it must be very happy times out in the evenings, distinctly. And for those who are still in the process of completing that process, all the best. Before I get into answering a very interesting question that he said as to how do you handle the bouncers and googlies. So that was the googly that he put on me. Okay, so I would basically say it, the corporate googlies and bouncers have to be handled exactly as the cricket coach taught us to handle the googlies and bouncers on the ground. Watch the ball till it goes to the keeper. That's what the coaching manual says. And precisely the googlies that come to you, make sure that you watch it, see it to its conclusion, follow the line. And if you really believe that you have a good size of it, I'm sure you know where to smack it to. So your problems, your issues, your the transactions, whichever way you look at it, are something that you really have to have a deep insight into. The key point today, we talked about it when somebody talked about the theme of this conference being Impresa. Now Impresa essentially is something new. Now we at HCL over the years have a very interesting, and this is the last time I'm going to really quote HCL as a brand, so this is not an opportunity for some brand mention here. Fundamentally, the context that we really wanted to share with you is that when you look at it as an organization, and we are not the only ones, there are many such organizations which have gone through this process. Our own internal DNA looks at it and says, every 5 years, you take any block of 5 years in the 40-year-old history of this company, greater than 80% of our revenues have come from businesses we were never there 5 years ago. I'm sure you would realize what it means. Because we were in the technology industry. The industry itself didn't afford us the luxury, first of all. But more importantly, the internal DNA of the organization is to keep looking at newer and newer ways to disrupt in some form. And I will talk about disruption and innovation as completely two different aspects of life. I do appreciate the fact that we were talking about disruption and innovation. But before I get to that, one small, very interesting thing that Professor Bala just talked about in saying we have been on the same board of a company, and it's great to see that company doing well today. It was not so much of the fact that we were there when he decided to take on something else, but it was because the few words of wisdom and the couple of things that he had initiated which got executed. So I think I must thank him for that on behalf of that board that I represent. So we talk about it in the context of disruption. Today there was a point of time when we grew up in school and moral science lessons or otherwise, somebody told us necessity is the mother of invention. Now, when you look at it in the corporate world, I think that paradigm has changed. And then we also had some very great writers who talked about thriving in chaos. Now, thriving in chaos, necessity is the mother of invention, are very interesting subjects which essentially allows you and finds you a way to survive in an environment. Thriving in chaos would essentially mean there is so much of change happening all over. How are you going to cope with it? What new strategies you need to bring and so on. But I think the paradigm that we are in today are completely different. Do you agree with me? It's not about survival. Survival is not the point, because you can do one thing, you may have not worked it out well, get on to do something else. Their opportunities are so huge. Opportunities of integration, aggregation, disintegration, in every way you look at it, are so huge. It's not about survival. It's about trying to build extremely large organizations which perhaps at a pace at which it happens, which we have not seen before, the pace of change that we have not seen before. So disruption, innovation, corporate organizations have innovation cells. So if you do not form inside your organization a team for disruption, which says that the business that I am here has to collapse, it has to migrate to something else. So there is quite a bit of difference between the way you look at disruption and the way you look at disruptive innovation. In terms of pure innovation, you could look at surviving, doing something new, increasing market share to some extent, and I'm sure the very emphatic and powerful statement that Professor Bala made, saying, we are different, thus we are different. I mean, I think that all of that becomes very relevant, but go beyond that.